Hey folks, hope everybody's well on that. Yeah, so here we are in Oregon, heading down towards California. So as we're getting towards the end of our trip, we're around about 500, about 480, 490 miles out of San Francisco. So about 770 kilometres at the moment out of San Francisco. So I thought I'd give one of our final videos as to an update on how the car's going. So far we've done just on 10,000, nearly 10,000 miles, about 9,500 and let's call it 9,500 miles, which is 15,200 kilometres of our own mileage. And that's without the mileage that was on the car when we took delivery in San Francisco. So whilst the actual experience we've had with the car, the long-term hire of the car, has been mostly okay. There are some issues that have come to light, however, and let's take a look at some of those issues. So as we come around here, we've got because the seat back's used quite often, you can see where the lever is to manoeuvre the seat back forwards as such. You can see how the upholstery is now starting to separate away from the actual shroud for the backrest lever here, as you can see down here. So probably zoom in on that right now and see it pretty clearly, I take it. Yeah, so that's one of the issues there that's developed. So, but the operation of the seat back is actually fine, no issues there. As we come around the car and that, I mean, we can see the tyre treads. And bear in mind, this is over 15,000 kilometres of use. So there's actually, I can feel across the treadwear face now, the wear feels to be pretty even. There's no feathering on the shoulders, the inner or the outer shoulder. And let's take a look, I'll turn the front wheels out so you can see. See, in left-hand drive cars, it's always the right-hand front, the offside front, right-hand front that cops the most punishment. So when we look at the tread, we can see that there's no uneven wear on the inner shoulder or the outer shoulder. And the wear is pretty consistent over 9,500 miles, 15,200 kilometres. I've still got around, subjectively, that looks to around about 6 to 6.5 millimetres of tread. So yes, I do like to drive fast, but I'm very mechanically sympathetic to all my vehicles. Even though these are an all-season tyre made by Goodyear here in USA, they're quiet, they're quite refined. But as I said to you earlier in the performance testing video and the handling test videos, their performance on the limit is a little bit on the squealish side. So it's like a little bit of a bloody pig in a pigsty, really, not getting their own way. But the actual wear pattern is quite good. And as I said before, the same applies to the rear tyres. The wear pattern's pretty good. We look to some of the areas. We've got variable gaps in the actual panels, and it's much the same applies to this one's not too bad, but you always get your variable panel gapping. And if we look really closely, you can see where the actual crease in the door doesn't quite match up flush with the crease in the fender. Not a big deal, perhaps, but when you really look at these sorts of things into greater depth, they become more and more apparent as time goes on. Let's take a look at other little things that have occurred that I've discovered. Now, as we look at the trunk lid, the boot lid gap, this one here, as you can see, is pretty tight. It's not quite up against this fender here, but it is pretty tight. You can see a little bit of other blemishes in the actual metalwork here. So it's not exactly well dyed in comparison to a lot of Japanese cars, which have nailed the quality mark right on the head. And this gap over here, and this side of the boot lid, trunk lid, is comparatively wide. So what you've got over here in comparison is the distance from New York, from Los Angeles to New York, versus the other side, which was pretty much San Francisco to Los Angeles. So you can pretty much get my point from that. So but it still seems to open and shut okay. There's no issues with the operation of the boot lid, trunk lid. No issues with the operation there. It opens okay. We might need to come around here for a second, because here's another issue that seems to have come to light. And as I was mentioning before, in regards to the actual boot lid gap, the trunk lid gap being tied up against this fender here, you can see where it's starting to shape on this paintwork here on the fender. You might be able to see it right there, and It's a little bit average considering the type of car that it is. I mean, General Motors has been building cars for decades on end. I mean, their factory in Lansing and Michigan here in the States is, whilst it's great that they're building cars, and that is particularly building a rear-wheel drive car, still some of the quality aspects could be better. So there's still some way for Japanese quality, build quality, true export quality to be achieved. So there is room for improvement in this particular area. Now the other tail of what I wanted to talk about was the roof operation. There is another fault that's developed in regards to one of the actual garnishes, which more or less covers up the roof folding mechanism. Now there's a little garnish which seems to have popped off its tracks, but we'll have a look and you'll see what I mean when I open the roof. Now, as we can see from here, this garnish here is very problematic. It's come off its track quite a few times now, and this is just from normal opening and closing of the roof. And every time it's been operated, there haven't been any crosswinds present, and the conditions have been quite still. So that's something for the warranty claims department to handle. As I highlighted before in regards to the passenger seat around the backrest lever here, the same issue applies to the driver's seat back as well. As you can see here, it's starting to, the actual upholstery is starting to separate from underneath the backrest lever shroud, as we can see here. But same thing again, the lever still works, it does its job, no issues with the operation of the lever. Another issue has come to light also in regards to where the two USB ports are located in the centre console area. From time to time, let's have a look at where they're located first in the actual centre console. Now, from time to time they refuse to work, and that's in regards to using a USB stick with music as such galore, as well as the actual power cords used in the same area as well. So there seems to be an intermittent fault that's developed there, where there's no power or power is unperturbed. So that's another thing for the warranty claims department to handle. Here, so as displayed on the odometer now, there's 10,027 kilometres. So I'll rephrase that: 10,027 miles. So just over 16,090 kilometres, which is a lot. So yep, so same thing again, the tyre wear is pretty consistent on all four tyres. There's no adverse wear on either the shoulders or the centre of the tread. So the wear patterns are pretty good. And same thing again, around about 6 to 6.5 millimetres of tread remain on the tyres, and the same applies to the rear. As I was mentioning earlier in regards to the panel gaps, there seems to be a lot of variance in the panel gap tolerances and the bonnet, the hood particularly as well. And some variance also applies around the near side too. Okay, so there you have it for now. So in regards to the build quality, could it be improved? Well, I think the answer is a three-letter word, the opposite to no. So we need to, maybe General Motors and their factory in Lansing and Michigan could improve the build quality somewhat. But in terms of an actual car, good performance.
It died. It just died.